They say that talking to yourself is a sign of insanity. But I think that's only if you answer back, right? Right. This is Talking to Myself, the Art Advice podcast where I use anecdotes from my real life to try to make myself a better artist, and hopefully a better person. While others might find this useful, I'm mostly just trying to avoid paying for therapy. Today's podcast, I thought I'd go into the idea of finding your place or finding your audience, finding your market, if you want to be commercial about it. But mostly sort of finding the most effective way to share your art. The anecdote is not precisely related this time, but it is something that reminded me of it. When I was a kid, I watched a lot of movies on TV because we lived in the middle of nowhere. There was one theater nearby. And anyway, so I remember seeing Pretty in Pink on television. I remember thinking, what a crock of crap that movie was. Mostly because I was already cynical and bitter. I was only like 15, I think, or something, but I knew that high school was nothing like that movie, and it made me angry because that was more like a world I wanted to be in. Because even the downtrodden high school kids seemed to have hope, and they ended up winning in the end. Whereas in real life, not really like that. I mean, nobody gets saved in real life. You either forge your own way and make a life for yourself, or you drag on through meaningless existence. And usually it's both. Anyway, angry young Nathan got mad at the movie Pretty in Pink, which is an excellent film. I love John Hughes films, and I have nothing but nostalgic warmness feelings for them now. But at the time, I was highly angry because it wasn't realistic enough. This movie, this romantic teen comedy, wasn't realistic enough for me, and it didn't represent my life. It wasn't for me, it felt like. And I was thinking about that when I was discussing on the Twitch stream recently. That's twitch.tv/NathanSeabull. I call it the Monster Party. We were talking about finding a place for the art you do, and as I was saying, I'm not going to show in a gallery the kind of stuff I'm doing. No one's going to buy a picture of a tentacle monster or a pile of mud with a smile on its face to put over their couch. And I did get some contradictions, but for the most part, I don't think you're going to see that in a gallery. And that's cool. That's no problem. I knew that already. I know the kind of stuff I do is not really the same style or genre of gallery art, generally speaking. I'm not avant-garde enough to be saying something, and I'm not pastoral enough to be aesthetically pleasing just to look at. That was never really my intention. So that I don't really fit into that world. That world doesn't relate to me. It's not realistic. And I want to be realistic without, being pessimistic, which is difficult, as far as it goes to marketing art and finding an audience. I think what I have to do is just be aware of where my art sort of fits in, or the style of stuff I do, the kind of things I like to do, what is a good use of those, commercially speaking. Not to get too crass and materialistic, but I would like to sell the art so more people can see it. I'd like people to see it and go, that's cool. And the first things that come to mind are like game art, illustrations, comic books, that kind of thing, because that's the kind of thing I'm inspired by. So naturally, I make the kind of stuff that would fit more into that world. So John Hughes inadvertently taught me not so much to know my place, because I don't think that's the right attitude to have. I think you need to be constantly challenging other people's idea of what you're doing and whether it's appropriate or not. And in fact, in art especially, sometimes it's important to deliberately be inappropriate. But if you want to sell the art, you need to get it in front of people who are going to appreciate it for what it is. And that means knowing your audience. So, in my case, I need to look for projects that need illustration, commercial style creature art. I've been saying for years a dream project of mine would be to work for Wizards of the Coast, formerly TSR, because they hold the license for Dungeons and Dragons. And I grew up inspired by the Monster Manual of Dungeons and Dragons. I have several editions of it, different versions of the game. I don't play the game anymore, really, and I have there are whole versions of the game, like whole editions that I've never played before, but I still have the monster manuals because I really like looking at the illustrations. And their quality is amazing these days. They have top tier illustrators doing those monster manuals. I'm still aspiring to get that good, but that's the kind of thing I would love to do, is a compendium of creatures, because creatures are mainly what I draw. And having sort of a focus on, that's what you can do with this that you do is very encouraging. It actually gives me a lot of hope. And hope is not something I often scrape together a large pile of, but it gives me hope to know that there is a niche I can fill, commercially speaking. I'm not just making this stuff that occasionally people will buy at a convention and then lose or throw away. So it feels good to have a target to aim at with your efforts. Now I just need to get a longer ranged rifle for this, or I guess a more powerful shotgun, since I'm spraying it out everywhere. This metaphor is becoming tedious, so I'm going to abandon it. I need to reach more people with the art that I'm making. I feel like the quality level is just barely good enough to be acceptable in the sort of milieu that I want it to be. So I'm going to continue working on quality because you can't really help that. And I'm going to focus mostly on distribution and try to get more people to see it. Because I think the more people that see it, the more chance I'll have that it'll find the right place and the right project and will fit in. And then I can be Ducky. In case you're not wondering what the hell I'm talking about, Ducky's a character in Pretty in Pink. Who, he's an oddball that doesn't fit in and gets bullied and stuff, but in the end he wins out. In a little throwaway scene, he kind of just wins, which is one of the reasons I was so frustrated. Beside the point, I want to win too, and I know it's not going to be some Deus Ex Machina at the very end of my life, so I need to work towards my own ending, my own happy success. And that was what occurred to me this week, so I thought I'd share it with you guys. Maybe this helps you. Generally speaking, I don't think these really do, but it might help me. It certainly helped me to talk about it, helped me to think about it for the podcast. I'm not so sure telling other people about it is the most useful part for me, but thinking of ideas to put on the podcast is definitely helping me figure out some things in my life, which is the whole point of the podcast. And that's why I call it talking to myself, because without the microphone, I would probably still be doing this slightly less conversationally, but with the same result. Sitting in a room by myself talking. So thank you guys for listening. I appreciate you being here. Special thanks to all the patrons on Patreon. You guys get to hear and see these a week ahead of time, along with additional bonus materials, and you are the shiniest people I know. Thank you very much. So until next time, everybody take care of each other. Be careful, wash your hands, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.